Hi, my name is Maud Leger, and I'm on a mission to empower realtors with cutting-edge insights, success stories, and actionable strategies from the top minds in real estate. Welcome back to Sold Right Away, and in this episode series, we solve real estate marketing challenges in real time, unlocking modern marketing successes for the real estate industry. And that's why today I've brought on Daniella Quattro from Sotheby's. She is a realtor that takes her discipline, her hard work, and her knowledge to the table when she meets with her clients. One of the keys to her success as a realtor is to remind herself to being consistent, proactive, and patient. Let's get to my chat with Daniella. Hi, Daniella. Thanks for joining us on the episode today. Tell us, how did you arrive to real estate?
Hi. Well, thank you for having me so much. How did I get here? Now it seems so far away that I'm thinking back. I was in marketing. I was doing marketing. It was 2000, and I had come out of. I was actually I went to school for. I went to York, and then I went to Humber for comedy writing and performance, and I did that for a little bit. And then I took a job marketing with a nonprofit in Toronto, and I really liked the work, but I didn't find it as fulfilling. And I've always loved homes. I grew up, and I hear this story with real estate agents all the time. When they were younger, their parents took them to open houses, or they helped them build a home or something like that. So it kind of felt like a natural progression for me to go into real estate.
Nice.
And it was about 2005, and I started to get my license, and I started out in Toronto. I lived north of the city, and I wanted to be in the city, so I started out in Toronto. And it took a few different avenues. I sold new homes for a bit. I sold resale when I started, then I sold new homes.
Yeah.
And I ended up here in Oakville. I ended up in the Oakville area with Sotheby's in 2016. I was helping another agent. And then I decided to go back into it full time on my own again, and got my broker's license again, and really kind of dove back in. So yeah, I've been with Sotheby's ever since.
Wow, love it. And then
hmm
2005, you've seen all sorts of markets and
Yeah. So I have and it's only with it actually, that's a great point, because it's only now looking back that I can see the mistakes I've made then in my career and where I am now.
love it.
Um and and how if you just stay the course and you're committed, then that's what's going to make the difference. And I'm not saying that always, I'm not saying I've always followed that, but I can see that is what works. It really is consistency, and it's about being dedicated, knowing your product, knowing your clients, and committing to the same thing every day. Right? I remember reading a quote years ago that was like, I don't remember who said it, but it was like, humans can withstand anything except the succession of ordinary days, and that's true, right? Because that is what's going to see you to that is what's going to see you through. And so in these times that are challenging, especially like for example what we're in right now, I certainly feel that holds true,
Nice. Yeah, I
right?
love it. Do you want to share more? You said you learned from mistakes that you've made. We can like jump right into that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, I don't think we have enough time to talk about all the mistakes I've made, but no, I to your point, actually, yeah. I would say when I first started, I had an opportunity to work with some fabulous agents. I've always had an opportunity to work with some great agents, and especially like now I see it. And when I first started, I had that same opportunity because I was in an established area of Toronto,
nice.
and there were a lot of established long-term agents there,
Mhm.
and I was able to work alongside them and like under them or for them, help them out. And I don't think I took advantage of that opportunity and the mentorship opportunities that were available to me at that time. And I think it was a lot of, I was on the right track, and as this business is, it's at highs and lows. And so I hit a low, and even though I was doing the right things to break through, I in my mind, and I was a lot younger then, I thought, oh, I'm not there fast enough. I need to get there faster. I need to keep doing this. And it isn't fast. It's patience, right? And I think I had all the things lined up, and I don't think I could see that. I didn't have the experience enough to see that. And that was my biggest, I would say that was my biggest mistake, because if I just stayed on that path at that time, I think I would have been that much further ahead now,
Yeah.
right? Or down the line. That's not to say I'm not far ahead now, but
No.
my career would be different,
Yeah.
right? Or would it, maybe it wouldn't. I mean, who knows? But that's what I would say. That's what I would say, especially to new agents who are starting out and trying to figure out what to do. Get a mentor, and even if it's not someone that they call a mentor, like, so to speak, a mentor, be curious and be the least experienced person in the room, and
Right.
take those answers and listen. And you don't have to sometimes listening to the wrong answers enough, that prompts you as well, right? Because that'll make you say, wait a minute, that's not how I want my career.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing and I don't like it, and that's okay too,
Yeah.
right?
Like being a sponge for everybody and all their experience, and then just decide from there once you
Yes.
listen to it with an open mind, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
I
that.
think collaboration is a big thing, and that's sort of, I mean, that's what I've noticed over the years, and collaborating with your colleagues and collaborating with other people in other industries. I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Super. I love it. What was a defining moment for you where you were like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna do real estate. This is why. Like, click.
Oh, it was too, you're going to be surprised by the timeline here, but I would say it was probably I had the aha moment, and we're always evolving and changing, right? I would say during the pandemic, it was 2020.
Yeah.
We had moved, and I mean, that's quite far removed from where my career was. And it's not to say that I wasn't committed to, like, from where my career had started. Do you know what I mean? And I was working and I was committed. But in 2020, I had this moment. It was like, okay, I was, I've said this story before. I was staring down the barrel of a milestone birthday, and I was like, okay, what am I doing? Am I committing to this or am I not? Right? You either get on the fence, you either get off the fence and keep going, or you just kind of do something else, right? And I enjoyed, this is what I enjoyed, and I went back to what I enjoyed and what I liked about real estate, and I really just threw everything into it. And sometimes you have those moments, I think, especially in this career, and you would know this from speaking to so many in this industry. I think you have this crisis of faith often, right? Because of the peaks and valleys, you sometimes think, oh, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Why am I not getting further ahead? Why am I not where I should be? Right? Like, I see this disconnect.
Yeah.
And I feel very much that, for me, when I'm feeling those moments, I try and get back to basics. I try and get back to what I like about this business and what I enjoy about selling homes. I like the stats. I like, I volunteer at the Toronto Real Estate Board. I enjoy that, right? I try and become that sponge with my colleagues, and that's kind of how I try and get, or a big thing for me, to get back to kind of basics, to center myself again with the work that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what I'm doing, right? And really just writing out, yeah, actually writing out and saying out loud, this is how I feel, this is who I want to work with, and by who I want to work with, I mean the types of clients who appreciate the work that I do, right?
Yeah.
And the colleagues that appreciate the work that I do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's trying to attract those people into your business.
Yeah.
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 And then you write it down. You actually write journal who.
I do. I try and write it down. I try and focus and center on that. I feel very fortunate. I know there's a lot of talk about this whole, like, gratitude, and depending on the program you subscribe to for coaching.
Yeah.
I would say, like, I'll put it like that. I think they all work. I do. I think you just have to commit. I think it is a commitment thing, right? So I would say what speaks true to me and resonates with me, the idea of gratitude, but I'd like to try and think that I'd like to live in that state.
Yeah.
Like, I already, like, I feel very fortunate, and I feel very fortunate with the work that I get to do, and I want to attract people who are aligned with the work that I do, and writing it down and being, I guess, defining that is what's really important. And what I've realized over time through yourself, through people like yourself who we've spoken to before about that, and then with coaches as well, like it's just really, if you don't know what it is, if you don't know what you want, how can you get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Just to you in some capacity to be able to
Yeah.
attract it.
That's just, and it can evolve. You
Yeah.
can want different things over time for sure, right? But if you don't know what you want, you're just gonna get everything, right? And you're gonna feel like you don't know what you're attracting.
Yeah.
Right. And I do believe in the things that, like abundance. I do believe, like, I think that there's enough work out there for everybody in this business. I really do, because there are going to be some people who don't want to work with me, as or align with what I want, as much as there's going to be people that I don't want to work with. Right. Like and it's certainly nobody's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the beauty of having so much choice for people. Right. And it is such an important thing that we're doing in terms of, we're guiding people, and for most people, on the biggest purchase of their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
And I find this was a big challenge for me. I really love this about my job, but we are counselors, very much so. And so but you're counselors at a time when they don't need a counselor. They need you to do the work. Right. So
Take them there.
yeah, exactly. Right. You still have to move them along.
Yeah.
Right. You still have to move people along. So it's important. The advice we give is important. The work we do, to get there is important, and how we do it. And it is it is serious, like not life shattering serious, but it's life changing. Yeah. Right. Like, and, you know, sure. I do think, certainly there are more serious jobs out there. That's not what I mean. But what I mean about it is, when you're committed to, when you're doing the work, it has to be, first and foremost, the work has to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, knowing what you're doing is really important too. So I find that, and experience doesn't come with age. It just comes with the work that you do. So if you're a full-time agent, that's what makes a difference than someone who's sort of part-time, or, maybe
in it.
having both feet in it. And so when I say experience, I certainly don't mean age. I just really mean, if you need to have both feet in it, you need to be doing it. Right.
Yeah. Every day waking up as a real estate agent and going to bed as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. You have to, and it's important to have other hobbies and other things, and like, for sure, right? Like any job, right? This job is funny because it's hard to turn off.
Yes.
Right? You're thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not thinking about it, I'm like, oh, maybe I am thinking about it.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point that you brought up too, that the work is important and it's serious. And from your attitude being a little bit, uh, even though super knowledgeable and experienced, but light, like I feel like you have this mood that makes people feel comfortable about dealing with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think so. I'm trying to play to my strengths, as opposed to when I was, maybe younger, or not. You don't know who you are. The older you get, the more you know who you are.
Trying to emulate somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, it takes the emotion down too. Like if somebody is high stress and really, really taking it seriously, you can bring that, breathe, like that, just like.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. I do think, being able to diffuse a situation is really important, and I feel more in control when I know what's going on, in terms of, so that's why I was saying about stats or rules, or process. I want to have a really good handle on that part of this job.
Yeah.
Because it does stop and end with us.
Yeah.
So we need to know, like, I know in some cases, some realtors really hand off all those details. I don't, I think you're doing a disservice. That you can hand them off for sure. You can delegate, and that's important as well. But you need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be that if it comes back to you, you can answer those questions. You know how to do it. You can speak to it with authority.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the marketing and all that is very important. It's absolutely important. That's part of our role. But it's also knowing what we're doing. It's also a profession. We also have to know what we're doing.
Yeah, and I love it. And for you, it's definitely part of your strengths. It's part of your skill. You said you love it. So handing it off, you're right, is a disservice to your clients because you're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm learning how to let go of the things that that maybe I can let go of, sort of thing. I can trust with someone else because I do think that I being part of the work I do with the Toronto Real Estate Board is this, like, it is looking at rules and the professionalism of our industry. And so
Nice.
if how can I judge that or stay on top of that, or how can I critique that if I'm not a part of it, if I'm not living that every day, sort of thing, right? And
Mhm.
that's, by the same token, that's not that that's, I say that and it's not like it's easy,
No.
right? It's not easy, and by that I mean, like, there's always new things that we have to be learning, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you fall short, and you have to course correct and make sure that every day you're learning something new. Every day you're taking something in and admitting when you don't know something and when you need to learn more.
I love it. Full circle to being a sponge, right? Being open-minded
Yeah,
to the world and knowledge. Right.
yeah.
Would that be the key to your success if you were thinking at what is really the key to your success?
Uh, I think I think that's part of it, and I
Yeah.
think the key to my success probably the more I'm in it, I would say is just being myself.
Nice. Love it.
I
Yeah.
I think um, nobody, in the same way, no one's like someone else. No one is like me,
Nice.
and because there's so many of us, there are so many of us. That's the truth. Uh, that is the truth. And so how do we? What's the key to to my personal success and the key to standing apart from others? All I could say is this is, like, you get me,
Yeah.
right? And that's for better or for worse. You gotta like me, right? And that's why I have to I have to like my client, like they have to like me, and I have to like them. We have to like each other, and
Yeah.
that's really important because it has to be there has to be trust, and there has to be a commitment on both sides, and there has to be respect. And I think that's a big key. That's very much a key to my success, is that the people who I work with, I would like to think they know that I really truly value um, them and their 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 perspective and where they're coming from. It's really important to me to listen to them and to
Mhm.
provide service that they need, and a level of professionalism that I think that they deserve.
I love it. Yeah. Very cool. What would you say is one of the most impactful thing that you have implemented in your business that brought you success?
I think consistency with my marketing.
See, yeah.
I'm happy to be back on track. I've had ups and downs, but every time I commit to that,
Hmm.
um, I've seen a difference in my business.
Nice.
And that's personal marketing and professionally marketing. And that's part of the reason why I'm aligned with Sotheby's, is because I truly, truly feel we are a brand that provides a level of marketing for your home, for your property, that's unlike anything else in the industry.
Yeah.
And then I've aligned and aligning myself with someone like yourself because I feel that you understand the needs of a realtor and what's important to market for myself, because I think there's two parts of marketing with real estate. Yes, like, it's very important. I have to tell people what I'm doing. I have to promote it. I have to tell people what I'm doing. Otherwise, what's the point, right? That I'm working. I'm here. But what I think often gets lost is the most important thing is this the sale of the property. Like, we are hired. It's not about us. It's about moving this home. And in these times that are, I think, are about to get more challenging, how are you selling this property? Right? Because, and it goes beyond, uh, it goes beyond just, a cool video or like a, um, you know, yeah, not saying that that's not important, but they have to work alongside each other,
Yeah.
right? So you need to have something behind you or someone behind you that can, you can put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. You can sell that property, right? So it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I can do it, and look how many followers I have and this and that, but it's like, what is that translating? You know what I mean? Is that translating to the sale? And what are you doing? Are you meeting with that agent every day to sell, or not that agent, excuse me, with your client, not every day, but are you connecting with them all the time to let them know how you're selling their property? Because ultimately that is your goal,
Yeah.
right?
That's what they hired you for. Not
That's
just,
what they hired you for.
yeah.
And that's what I meant about the whole, like, when you
Yeah.
really become a counselor for people, but at the end of the day, you also have a job to fulfill, and that will serve them as well. That is what they need from us.
Totally. Totally. So let's circle back on marketing. You said you're getting back into committing to this, and consistency is important.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Sotheby's has a phenomenal luxury branding. So
Yep.
what are types of action that you put into your marketing every day, every week?
So, having a consistent social media plan, looking back to having a so we've also implemented, or we're going to start implementing, a regular newsletter. We have a regular e-newsletter and postal area where we work that we're targeting as well. So those are two initiatives. Being consistent with, part of Sotheby's. One of the great things about Sotheby's is, um, we really focus on, yes, a luxury brand, but it's beyond luxury. We bring properties that are, everyday everyday home, like what people don't consider luxury, and they throw that, the word is kind of thrown around. It's the experience for us. So we bring that luxury level experience to homes that people maybe wouldn't have considered were luxury, right? The price point, they don't consider that. But that's not what it's about. We elevate the homes that we sell. We sell all types of properties, and I think that allows me to do, like, Sotheby's allows me to do that. um but going back, sorry, to answer your question, yes, what we're doing to implement now is, a targeted social media campaign, a targeted direct mail campaign, and a targeted newsletter campaign. So those are all things that we've kind of taken on for this quarter, because we're trying to look at it, maybe not in its entirety, because a marketing plan you have an overall one, but as I get into this more, I'm really trying to break up my year in quarters. So these are initiatives that we want to get a hold of at the start of the year to carry us forward and be consistent on for the rest of the year.
Love it. Consistency, again, keyword, super important.
Yeah. Yeah, and accept the fact that there's a lag time,
Yeah.
right? So like, just because you do something today doesn't mean someone's going to call you tomorrow. It's about establishing yourself, right? And I've got some, like I said, I work with some fabulous colleagues, not only at Sotheby's, but also throughout, the Halton region, that I can say, and beyond, really, that are consistent, that are making gains in their markets through consistency.
Nice.
And I think I think it's great. I think it's a great lesson for us to take away.
Yeah, I have clients who do a newsletter for 2 years before they get a call, and the person gets them, and then we go and meet the client, and they say, "Yeah, I got the newsletter for 2 years, but I wasn't ready."
That's they have to, like, you have to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said it at the very beginning. You have to show up.
Yeah.
You have to show up every day, even the days that you don't want to. Even the days that you're like, I had a couple very challenging years, and what I've learned about those challenging years is you just keep going, and it always changes, right? It's got to turn around, and that's good for better or for worse, right? Like it turns around,
Yeah.
but I find it only turns around if you continue to show up. If you
Mm.
give up, or you say, like, oh well, what am I doing this for? I'm not gonna, like, if And this is life. It just takes the attitude that you bring to it, right?
Yeah, just showing up, being mindful of what you're planning, what your goals are, like you said, breaking out from a big plan to quarterly, just having something that keeps you coming up and saying, I'm going to do this versus waiting. Like it's proactive versus reactive.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it, right? And you have to be proactive,
Yeah.
right? You have to, and patient. You have to be patient, proactive, and patient. Consistent, proactive, and patient. That's the, I could take anything away. That's what I would say.
Consistent, proactive, and patient. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Three super important keywords.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to say I always follow my own advice. Like, I'm like,
That's
and and you know what? Maybe cut yourself some slack too. If you don't have if you do fall off, so to speak,
yeah.
that's okay. But don't don't like don't fall off and say, well, I can't. There's no point in me going back at all. It's like, no, just pick it up.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself for that lapse time.
Hmm.
Like, if someone was late to an email with you, would you be like, would you yell at them, or would you just be like, okay, that's okay, let's keep going? So
Uh-huh.
show yourself that same kind of forgiveness and just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Commit and recommit and commit and
Yeah,
recommit and fall off and jump back
yeah.
in. Nice. Ah. So based on all of that, what would you think for you is like the one thing you must implement when you show up, or what's your non-negotiable for you to do?
My non-negotiable is to stay informed with what's happening in real estate
Love
and
it.
my business. So whether like in my market, what's happening, what is what new things do I need to know about in my
Nice.
business? So that is a non-negotiable for me. And I think now I can honestly say commit to delegating the things that I really can.
Yeah.
But if professionalism and knowing what I'm doing is my goal, or is so important to me, it's a non-negotiable to know that, or to be a part of, or to always stay on top of that, I should say.
Knowledge, keep on top of what's going on. Yeah.
Keep on, yes. That's a much better way to say yes.
That's very good. What would be like your number one business process to accomplish that?
So I would say it's a great question. My number one business process would probably be just reading and staying on top every day of like I used to do this thing where I would post up every day on a story a, a real estate story that had happened. I would post it up in my story feed online on Instagram. I don't post that anymore, but I still read every day. Like
Right.
that's kind of part of my thing. When I worked at the charity, part of my job was to go through the newspapers every day and point and cut out articles where either our donors were mentioned or the charity was mentioned, and create a scrapbook. I mean, this was many years ago. I'd be cutting out articles. There was no Pinterest. I'm very old. I guess it's like the early 2000s.
But you can
Um,
apply
yeah,
this.
but that is something I still can do. I still do now. So every day I wake up and I scan the newspaper for headlines. I read those articles. I try and stay informed. That is a non-negotiable for me. Because I think you need to be able to speak to, I think you need to be able to speak to those things at any moment. And it's okay to say, like, I had a client ask me recently how I feel the tariffs are going to affect the market. Uh, and this was on, like, they announced the tariffs Saturday night, and we all felt the same kind of tense emotion, I think, right? And so I said, and he asked me on Sunday night, and I said, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, I, I have no idea. Like, I'm not sure yet. It's
Mhm.
still too fresh. I don't know. I want to speak to other colleagues. I want to see what they're feeling. I want to speak to other industries and see what they're feeling. I want to kind of let the dust settle. And sure enough, 2 days later, they were put on pause. So we're kind of still in this holding pattern. So that also, I think, is going to affect the market. But
Yeah.
not even just that. If you had told me, I use this example, I've kind of stopped predicting too far ahead of the game, because if
Yeah.
you had told me that a global pandemic was going to cause a real estate boom at the start, I would have said, "Are you?" No.
Who came up with this idea?
Yeah. Like, but I'm trying to get better at just saying, "Look, I don't know. This is what I see. This is like speaking more to what I see," and so that's why I'm trying to stay informed.
Yeah,
Because I really think that that's important.
yeah. The knowledge will bring up your professionalism, but also your conversation with people. You're able to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
"Yes, I don't know," or "Yes, I know," and this is it.
mm, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that's a bit. And I like to read the paper, so that's part of it too.
What would be a key strategy for you to get more leads? What do you do?
So I think two things. I think being consistent with the marketing, which we've already spoken about, and I'm not just saying that because we're on the call. I actually have seen this happen to me before. When I get consistent with these things, I've noticed results in my business. I've
Yeah,
become top of mind again. So
yeah,
I think it's that, but I also think it's getting out of my comfort zone in terms of meeting people, whether that's in my community, um, going out more, networking events, and maybe, and not even just networking events, but events that I enjoy doing. So going to local charity events or local volunteering, sitting on
yeah.
committees here in Burlington where I live, like uh, getting out, a lot more face time with people. Right.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I would say more FaceTime. I think that has to be a part of the marketing piece as well.
yeah. To be top of mind. You said it perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind people. People forget
They do. They
it.
do. Or I didn't think you were doing that anymore. Or I hadn't seen you out and about anymore, so I didn't know. Right.
Yeah,
That's a big thing.
yeah. And there's so much
So
noise out there about all the realtors that you have to remind your sphere of influence that you are.
that's just it, right? Like if they're gonna forget about you.
Yeah.
And not because they want to, but
No.
because there's so many. There's so many. And there's a lot of there's always this focus, or there seems to be this focus of, oh, not good realtors or this or that, or there's a lot of fabulous realtors. There's fantastic agents who feel as though, as I feel like, and I love working with them, like who feel the professionalism and all that. I'm not reinventing the wheel. But so I think, to your point, stay top of mind with your sphere of influence, because if it's not you, it's somebody else,
Yeah. Yeah.
and somebody else who's just as good.
I
They're not you though. They're not you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's like I do think that there's that connection
Hmm.
with people, and I think that that's important.
No.
Um, uh, you know, and so that's, you have to stay top of mind, and you have to stay on top of the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's circle back to marketing again because I love it.
Hmm.
What would be your biggest frustration with your marketing as you're trying to get back into it and be consistent?
uh, Getting back into it and being consistent. I think that is my biggest frustration. Like I have my e-newsletter on my in my outbox that I'm ready to press send on, but I keep something has I've been distracted the whole time, and I really should be leaning into the AI programs, or the programs that are available to me to automate the services that I have.
So,
I have them. They're there.
yeah,
Just do it.
just
And
lean into it.
I'm just lean into it. And I had this big fear for a long time of, I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look silly. When I send out a newsletter, it's going to look silly. It's going to look this. It's going to look that. Looks cheesy. Like it's analysis paralysis, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, just stop. Yeah, just stop. Just do it. And it's done. And course correct after if you have to. If you get feedback that you didn't like, or there was something about it that you didn't want, just course correct. It's fine. Just
Next
that,
time.
that's it. Next time, do different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even
People,
do better.
yeah.
Yeah, not even do better, because I think that's counting. I think that's not giving yourself credit. Just doing it is enough. Like for some, just getting it done is
Yeah.
something, but do different, right?
Well,
Learn from what you've done and kind of do different. So yeah, that being consistent is still, I struggle with consistency, and I think I'm not the only one, but I think I'll always have this struggle,
hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Not Yeah, I think consistency is that's the biggest challenge for me.
I love it. I love it. What would you apply now that not that you know it's your biggest challenge, but you also know that's the key to your success a little bit. So what can you put in place for yourself between like knowing that to make sure you keep consistent and you don't fall off again?
So I think automating the services. I
Yeah.
think that's a big part, leaning into that automation and setting a schedule for myself for this month into next month,
Yeah.
right? Like, so really doing it a month. I've already got on track that I'm, quarterly. I'm okay with that, but also not only that, um, uh, monthly, like then breaking it down by month. Just, I think if you want to reach a goal, you have to break it down.
Love
And
it.
and ultimately that may not, your goal may change at the end
Yeah.
because of the way that you're working, right? So I don't think we need to be so rigid in our goals, and as opposed to a goal, maybe it's more of a destination,
Plan. Yeah.
a
Journey.
plan,
Yeah.
right? A journey and a destination. And I think it is a very much a case of, and this is like not new, but what people say with habit stacking or making these habits, like that's that in and of itself is a goal. Like, just being consistent is the goal in some cases. And if you want to be a runner, you don't buy running shoes, you run, right? So it's like you just every day, and then one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh, maybe I am a runner because I ran every day this month, right? So I can call myself a runner, sort of thing, right? And so I don't want to run, but
I get it. I get it.
yeah, I'm not saying I want to run. I'm saying if you wanted to run, that's another one. So yeah, that's what I would say. I would say just that, automating, making it easier for myself to make those, to be consistent.
And committing to your plan, committing to your time
Hmm.
blocks, and then doing the actions.
Yes, yes.
Nice. I love it. This is so cool. Thank you. I do have a rapid fire questions section of the podcast.
Okay, I'm ready.
We've already talked about, so it will be easy, I think.
Okay. I've probably forgotten what I said.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. It's real, it's genuine.
Okay.
What's the number one business process that you cannot live without?
Reading the paper, like being informed.
Being
Being
informed.
informed. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your best marketing strategy?
Um, my social media and my direct newsletters campaign right now is, I feel 100% to where I'm committed.
Love it. Cool. What's your best social media tactic for real estate growth?
Outsourcing.
Nice. Love it.
And not because I'm like, honest to God,
Yeah.
not like outsourcing. Even if I have to make edits or comments or things that I still not taking it on, just being like, okay, yep, great, let's keep going, sort of thing. So outsourcing and trusting that it's getting done. That's it.
It's to your consistency that you want to achieve and your
Yes.
business mind. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just can't do it all.
No.
Like that's the truth of it, right? And so, but it's really important, I think, to have someone who can speak to your voice.
Nice. Love it. What is your most effective social media platform?
Instagram.
Instagram. What are your top income generating activities?
So my social media, and by social media I mean social media / newsletter.
Yep.
The newsletter, like that kind of, marketing, digital marketing. Meeting people, like, so networking and getting out there and making new connections with people.
Yeah.
And lastly,
Referrals. Yeah.
and in no particular order. Sometimes some months are, those three things kind of interchange, but definitely referral. I have a lot of repeat business and repeat customers.
Love it. Very cool. So what income generating activities should every realtors
Drop, like, don't do anymore.
Not do?
Oh,
It's a waste of time.
it's a waste of time. I don't know if anything is a waste of time if you commit to it.
Oh wow, that's
If it's authentic to you, and you're, like, okay, I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Like, I had a colleague who would do calendars, like, the magnetic calendars,
Yeah.
right? And I had, and you think, oh, that's so antiquated, nobody wants that anymore, that's ridiculous, people don't even have fridge, like, magnets on their fridge. I would go to my I go to people's houses. What do I see on their house? Like my own family. I see that like
From another realtor.
yeah, like oh, there it is, or a notepad that has their names on it, right? Like they may not be using them, but it's there, right? And they're not using them because they're related to me, let's say. But if it wasn't me, well, then there's a name for them, right?
Yeah,
So I wouldn't say that they should drop anything. I think if it is who you are, if it's authentic to you and your brand and who you are, and you're committed to it, I don't have the answer for anything better.
I
That's what I would say.
that's perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
How do you win more listings?
Oh, who says I do? Wouldn't it be nice? No. How do I win more listings? I would maybe just change that a bit to say, no, I'll answer that. Just leaning into my brand,
Hmm.
and the brand that I work for, I think sets me apart. I really do.
Yeah, love it.
And, and being authentic to who I am.
Yeah, very cool. How do you leverage your listings once you get a listing?
So through social ad campaigns, we have some marketing plans with Sotheby's as well,
Mhm.
that I can lean into. I try and promote it through colleagues as well. I'm able to meet with colleagues and speak with them about it. So those are just some of the ways that I like to leverage them.
Yeah, very cool. What's your key to building a strong network? You do a lot of networking, volunteering.
I would say my key to that would be raising my hand and
Mm.
showing up. So I like to volunteer. I enjoy it over and above of just doing it. I enjoy sitting on those committees or being on those boards. Like I think it's interesting, and that's I think keeps me connected with people. So that's how
Huh. Raise your
yeah
hand. Yeah,
I raise my hand. Yeah.
yeah. What's the best advice you ever received?
Oh,
Hmm.
don't stop. Keep going forward. I had
Mm.
a coach who said, just when you think you're going to break through, like when you're at your lowest, you feel like giving up. Don't give up because that's when something big is on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
That was the best advice I ever got.
Nice. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. What would you say to someone who's like wanting to give up right now, like a new realtor, someone who's struggling?
Oh, I would say, don't. I would say don't. Like,
Oh.
or not don't, um, stop and pause.
Mm,
Listen to yourself. Don't make a decision in don't make a decision just quickly. If you don't know what to do, I think it's best to do nothing. Unless you're going to unless you're saying with absolute certainty, this isn't for me, this isn't what I want, and I want to do something else, then you're okay to make that transition. But if you're giving up because
it's
things are tough or challenged or hard right now, the reality is there's no job that's going to be easy.
yeah,
And especially if you want to get to that next level, that high achiever or that next, and whatever that looks like, if it's income, if you want to be that, or if it's volume of trades, or if it's whatever it is, those agents that you see working at that level are working hard. So it's not like you're going to get there by fluke. You're going to get there by hard work, and they have had their fair share of um setbacks,
yeah,
but they keep going, and they have enough work in the pipeline. They're sending out enough, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're putting themselves out there enough that it's a numbers game,
yeah.
right? Like they just you have to keep going. So to your point about winning more listings, I think it's going to more appointments. If you
Mm.
want to win more listings, you have to go to more appointments. You have to meet with more people. You have to get like it's a law of averages, right? At some point, it's going to hit. So you
But
just got to keep going.
nice. Oh, very cool. Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure that will be super helpful for lots of agents.
Oh, I hope so. Well, I hope so. Thank you. Thanks for letting me talk.
And where do we find you on the internet? What's your Instagram?
You can find me at Quattro Group, Quattro Group Real Estate on Instagram.
Mhm.
Facebook the same, Quattro Group, Daniella Quattro. My full name is Quattro Shoki, but I don't always go by Quattro Shoki for my work. I work with my husband, so Len, and we're the Quattro Group.
Nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing. This is such a great conversation. I love it.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Sold Right Away. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you are ready to take your real estate career to the next level, visit us at Sold Right Away for more resources and support. Until next time, keep closing and keep growing.